Alright, so recording started. Same as usual. I'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Go. I'll keep you here.
Alright. There in Monkey's Low, just make sure we're looking to heal him up as like we started shooting at shield rather than prioritizing Monkey who is like critical. Right? So like Monkey's critical here, and then look how we started like instead of healing up Monkey who's critical, we started like shooting at shield and shooting at shield, right? So not the target we want to be looking at there. Oh, besides that, pretty good pretty good nade. Right? We got the McCree and the Monkey, and then honestly, like that was in a good spot. You know, you just didn't get a ton of people in it, which is sometimes gonna be unfortunate. Okay, nice shots again. Possibly might again prioritize the person who's taking damage. Right? It's usually you want to prioritize unless Zenyatta was like full HP, you'd prioritize healing up Zenyatta just so that he doesn't end up dying while you're shooting at the diva. All right, so far pretty good. Smooth first fight.
Taking the objective. Support requested. Objective A captured. أنا هاخد بالي منه. New defense point. Objective B.
Okay, some of the same as usual, like with just shots ending up kind of going into nothing in particular, right? Or like we end up missing shots, like we'll shoot full HP, you know, Torbjorn, and then we'll shoot like into the shield, and then into the shield, and then into the air, and then shoot like right before we throw a nade, right? So it's just like a bunch just holding it down, not really particularly doing anything with the shots, which again, right, watch overhealing, could be doing anything else with that time, reloading, could be doing something else, right? So just make sure looking to do things with those, but you know, it's not, I wouldn't say that's insanely massive, but it's still something to work on.
Watching your back.
Ready for transcendence.
نامي أنا هاخد بالي منه. You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, say we're sitting like a little far back there, like that whole time, like just maybe could have been 5-10 meters closer in like all this whole instance, right? And then when Monkey's jumping in, right, like look how much space they're giving us. No one's really up forwards contesting us. So when Monkey's in the middle of jumping in, we could have already been like up here, right? And then now since we're already up here, we're able to actually follow up and heal Monkey and get in abilities. But we had to walk all the way forwards, and then we also back up for a little bit, and we walk all the way forwards, right? And then by the time we get there, you know, we've missed out on opportunities to get off nades and stuff like that, right? Again, like we end up shooting at shields a bunch, but really massive nade there. Good job. Right. I think this is something we've talked about before. Do you maybe think what is the problem here? Because you know, part of getting better, right? And I don't want you to. Yeah. So you know, part of you getting better, right? Part of you improving is learning how to self-improve, right? You don't want to have me as your coach for all of eternity for everything, right? You want to be able to learn the skills of getting better by yourself, right? And the basics of that is identifying what is the problem, how can I solve the problem. So in the situation, right, you're out of position. Why are you out of position?
Well, I guess I was just playing like too much in like enemy sightlines. Like there's no natural cover or anything like that for me.
Okay, so we're not using cover, right? Standing in the middle of the open. That's a good point. I mean, I'd think of like another major point along with that. I'd probably say that's like maybe half of it here, right? Is that we're out in the open, and then there's maybe another half that comes in along with that, right?
I guess because there's two ways to get to point, like by their spawn doors. I guess I could be a quick target to dive.
So you might remember this after I say it. At least maybe I've never said it, but I mean, like I imagine throughout our extensive coaching sessions that we have at some point mentioned it. But when you are about to cap point, right? And you're on point, you're capping. Where's the one place the enemy team needs to go?
Point.
Okay. So where's it going to be the most dangerous for you as a support player?
Yeah. Point.
Point,
Yeah.
right? So here we are running onto point, right? Instead of maybe sitting a little bit further back. I think we are fine on bridge right now from like, for example, like if we just sitting in this positioning, we can see most of everything. Like we can see everybody on bridge. We can see most people on point if we cannot, all we have to do is like rotate a little bit. We have cover over here. We have, maybe if we wanted to at some point, we could take the option to like rotate up to like top right or something like that, right? But sitting on point, not a place to be, right? Gonna be very dangerous for you. And then I imagine here, I'm pretty sure here it gets us killed.
I'm on
Right.
fire. Nap time.
Oh,
Hello there.
so he just barely made it out because for some reason, instead of shooting you like one more time, he would have decided to try to mech.
Mm-hmm.
Die feeder. I'm securing the objective.
Again, a little close to the fight, but we capped it.
Get here. Ready.
I guess I should ask for Anubis. Where is like the best spot usually to set up as Ana?
As
Because I
on
feel like I
defense.
struggle a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So on defense here, basically what I would say to that is you start off on the top right, and then if the fight ends up going like let's say the enemy team, because you can see the enemy team from here, right? You can see them on the choke. If you see that they end up going left side over right side, then we would drop and come play on the bridge, right? Because then we
Okay.
can land like nades and abilities and stuff from up here. Whereas like this would not give us like, and we can also help our team out. Whereas this wouldn't give us like any sight lights on anything if they went left side, right? So
Yeah.
that'd probably be what I recommend. If they go right side, then we can just sit up here on the bridge and do a whole lot, right, from up here, and have a decent amount of survivability, right? So I'd probably say start off top right. Honestly, it's not too bad at all if you start off bottom, like on the bottom left. That's not gonna make a big, massive difference, right?
Okay.
Oh, good job, Sarian.
Nano.
Oh, massive. I mean, not necessarily massive, but it is a good sleep. Oh, just barely missed that one.
Yeah, I didn't aim up just enough.
Yeah. Let's see, I think it caught on the. Yeah. Oh, so close. That like goes like an inch higher, and you get like 5 there.
Watching your back.
um. Watch here. We think we're healing Moira, but we never actually heal Moira because every single shot gets caught by Torbjorn, and then we look away as if we've accomplished our job when Moira never got healed there, right? So make sure we are paying attention, using our eyes, right? Awareness, as we've discussed many times before, right? Watching Moira's health bar, making sure we're paying attention here because Moira is actually still critical, even though we thought we healed her. Right, so paying attention to Torbjorn as well, and then therefore she ends up dying there when we never actually healed her.
Taking damage. I expected more from you.
Okay, we've seen this a bunch of times, but once again, prioritize the healing over damage. Right, Ana damage only ever comes out when there's like nothing else to do, right? Or if you see a really good opportunity for a kill. But in this case, right, when you have a choice, do I shoot at Reinhardt who's 1 HP or the Sigma or the Symmetra, you pick the Reinhardt, right, who's 1 HP because Reinhardt is, you want to keep him alive because if you keep him alive and then he gets a kill, well now you're up 1. If you get a kill and then he dies, then you're 1-1, right? Or if you don't even get the kill, then you're 0-1, right? So in either case, right, like basically no matter what way it goes, it's better that you keep your player alive, right? So multiple things there being like, first off, just paying attention to our Reinhardt a little bit more there. We were a little bit slow to turn around to look at him. Then after we do see him, we are slow to look at him, right? So prioritizing the healing over the damage.
Watching your back.
Time to let off some steam. Barrier is
Defend.
Yeah, good nade though. Unfortunately, look, the fight's pretty much already over by that point.
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
Okay, I think we might have talked about like I don't we have we talked about Ana positioning on Anubis yet? I feel like we talked about that at some point.
I think we may have once.
Okay. Right. Go walk me through all the different boxes we're checking off with Ana positioning.
Okay, well, right there. I mean, I guess yeah. I'm playing with team like the teams in my line of sight.
Hmm.
The enemies, well, they don't usually TP. I'd want to play more to my right, kinda, in that doorway, kind of
Hmm.
maybe.
So we can see our team. Enemy team can't see us. Can we land abilities well from here, like efficiently from here?
Uh, Not really.
Not really.
Uh,
Okay. Do we have a high ground we can use from over here?
no.
No, not really. Okay. So now let's compare that to like anywhere on this side, right? So let's say just
Hmm.
compare it to here. Well, now we have like the exact same thing. We can see our team.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
can't see me. Now we have a little bit more of a high ground. If we wanted to, we could even get up to here and now same thing, right?
Hmm.
Then we have high ground advantage, and we can also land nades a lot better, right? So let's say they're on
Yeah.
bridge, nade. Let's say they go left side, nade, right? Um, we want to. We can also get up to high ground as well. This one, honestly, it's up to you, right? Which one you want to go. If you have the time, might say go to high ground, but you also
Hmm.
might just be pressured off there pretty easily, like if for by Diva, for example. But then from up here again, you can see left side. You can see, if they go right side, you can toss a nade in. If they go main, you can see them. Right, you have high ground positioning. They can't see you because there's a pillar. You can drop if you need to, and then you can always just drop back to this really good secondary position. Right. On top
Hmm.
of that, we have just more space to back up to. Right, we can just back up this way and get to spawn very easily. Whereas over here, there's not as much space to get to, as well as the fact that like they can't as easily come right side and then just instantly be on top of you. Whereas if they come left side, they're like instantly on top of you, right? And you have to do this
Hmm.
long rotation to the other side, right? Or else you'll have to like, I guess you could run back into spawn, but it's just not as good as left side. So left side's better. Probably want to be on left side.
Name.
Probably could land a really massive nade there if we could. Just so you're aware of how to get up to that very top high ground, right?
I think so.
Think so, right? As a reminder, then, right? You can jump up this, jump from here to over here if you need to, or you can also just jump from here up,
Hmm.
right? Then
Yeah.
you jump on this little platform, then you jump up here, then up onto this corner, then up
Hmm.
onto this little ledge. Then from here you can jump up onto this thing, and then from here you can jump over to here, right? So just a little bit of
Hmm.
parkour.
Yeah.
Probably one of the like earliest parkours that has been around since forever.
EMP activated. Get clear.
I've
You're
sighted
covered.
the enemy.
Okay. Right, so let's like rewatch that slightly.
Allow me to repair the damage.
I guess looking back at it, I could have done an earlier nade.
Yeah, probably could have like
Get
just
clear.
rather than waiting on the EMP, we probably could have just fit it in there.
Hmm.
Especially if we didn't know we were
Defend.
going for EMP, but like not massive
I've
of a
got
deal.
company.
Also noticing like still more kind of shot left clicks that aren't doing anything. Or let's just kind of watch all the like missed shots, right? So overheal, missed shot, overheal shot, just shooting into their team, two,
EMP
three, right? Toss
Get
nade,
clear.
that's good. And
I've
then
You're
we
got
covered.
go shot into Torbjorn, who I think we're not trying to hit Torbjorn there, but um, shot into TP we can't even see, right? Shot into Torbjorn, who's full HP, right? So just a lot of shots that just kind of go nowhere, do nothing, right? And then we get
Hmm.
snuck up on by the Baby Diva, right? So what death would that be?
What? Anyway,
Yeah.
in
So
terms
so
of like the whole map,
Yeah,
or
so remember the four different reasons why we die, right? Out of the four different reasons why people die, right? We've talked about that when we've gone over survivability. What kind of death would this be?
probably an awareness one, not hearing her, I
Yeah,
imagine.
right. Not listening, right? Would just be the main thing is we never saw her, right? So keeping our ears open and listening, um, paying attention to our surroundings, and going, huh? Where the heck is Diva? I have not seen her since the start of the fight, right?
Hmm.
That sort of idea, right? And then that stops us from getting smushed, right?
Watching your back. duty. Surrender to my will.
Right. Well, first off, right, they're Reinhardt fed. Secondly, we're not really putting ourselves in a position to help these guys out, right? So let's like wind back a little bit. Reinhardt charges in, right? Of course, there's no way you're gonna be able to like catch up from here to Reinhardt instantly, right? So it's not like you can really save him here. It's not your fault that he dies. He feeds, therefore it's his problem. But we just don't make any effort to push forwards and help here when the whole fight is happening up there, right? So do you remember, like we've talked about in past, like what if our team's playing stupid? Really, go play stupidly with them, right?
Yeah, it's a
Because
strategy.
yeah, because that's a strategy, right? But if we just kind of sit in the back here, then we're not really participating at all. Like we could have been up. Like by the time Reinhardt's charging in, right? Let's just compare our positioning with Moira's, right? Like
Mhm,
we're only like what 5 meters behind Moira, right?
mhm.
And then she just walks forwards and walks forwards and walks forwards, and then now she's like 15 meters ahead of us, right? And 20 meters ahead of us, and then we back up to the right for some reason when the fight's happening still up there, right?
Surrender.
And then they're like, look at like how they're all the way up there, and we're just kind of sitting really far in the back here. Yeah, probably be looking to pop like a nano boost. Yep, there you go. Yep, I like the target. Good sleep. Good nade.
Welcome, Mac.
I've got you in my sights.
Probably don't want to be scoping in when there's Zarya's like right next to us.
Got you in my sights.
Okay. Noticing just the holding down of left click where we go left click in the wall, 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 right? So the shots don't seem intentional, right? It doesn't appear as though
Mhm.
we are thinking about the shots. It just kind of seems like we hold it down and then are looking around and we're not really intentionally aiming our shots. And then if we are intentionally aiming our shots here, this is now the distance where we should be looking to scope in, right? Because now everything is really far away from us, and that, if you recall, just when the scope versus unscope is mainly based off of a distance, right? Massive anti-nade, really good.
Double kill. I'm on fire. Keep out of my way.
Hello.
Get into
أنا
position.
هاخد بالي منك.
My ultimate is charging. My will made real. My ultimate is charging.
Okay. More overheal shots.
Enemy contact. This is my will.
Need healing. Walk it off.
Coalescence is charging. I need
Watching your
Okay, like we're on this side now, but I think we swap over here because they went right side, which
Yeah.
isn't shouldn't be the reason why we're over here, but it's better than being over on the right.
from afar.
Turret's under fire.
Graviton surge is ready.
Okay. I think we are still say like one of the biggest things that we're looking at the moment besides the awareness is just generally mechanically across like most of our kit, right? Usually like you
Mhm.
don't put ability usage into mechanics, but I'd say just even ability usage wise, it seems as though a lot of the times that we're missing ability usage, it's not necessarily just because we're misusing the abilities or because we're using them in bad timing or in bad positioning. A lot of the time it's just looking as though we're just flat up missing our shots or using it when there's like nobody there. Like look at the sleep, how we like use it when there's like just nobody there at all. Like how we see that there's nobody there, we can see in front of us and there's nobody there, right? And we still sleep anyways, right? Just
Mhm.
actively seeing it and not really changing our decision making accordingly. Besides that, like we see that just a lot with our ability usage and a lot just with our normal shots where we just go, out of our whole 12 ammo clip, we'll maybe see like 4 shots do stuff, right? And then maybe, or I'd say like 4 good shots, maybe like a couple, maybe we'll just say like, couple okay shots, and then the rest are just kind of all over the place, not really doing anything in particular. Like we could probably just watch this next 12 shots and see like what do we do with the next 12 shots, because we just end up missing a lot and not really like even just not really intentionally doing things with it, right? So like at this distance again, like probably scoping in at this distance, right? And making your shots easier on yourself, right? Shooting when there's nobody even there, right? We're shooting like when Moira's around the corner, right? So we're shooting like a lot when there's like not even people to shoot at, right? That sort of idea. Um, again, noting that just remember it's a projectile, so we have to aim ahead of people, or even at this distance, it would just be much easier to scope in and just make it so that the shots are instant. But then we just end up wasting 3 shots. We toss in a nade. Oh, actually, it's a pretty decent
This
nade,
will only hurt
right?
for a minute.
4th shot though, like happens around like when she's already around the corner, right? So we end up missing like 4 out of the 6 that we shot or something like that, right? Shooting at the wall isn't probably going to be a big priority there when we can maybe be using that to that time to like rotate around to shoot at them, or I guess even I don't know. I think that might be fine actually. And I think shooting at the wall's fine. Just might do it more so like instead of the middle, might be better to do like on the right if you see him backing off into the right. But honestly, that's completely fine there.
Taking damage will.
Massive nade. Yeah, but I say nade is doing pretty well, right? We like definitely like let's see, last time, yeah, abilities are just third last time. Nades were still a thing we were talking about. Yeah, so nades definitely are looking a lot better, right? We've seen a lot more pretty decent nades, whereas I think like last time it was like we have 2 good nades a game or something like that. Right now we're seeing a lot more good nades, and so nades are looking good. Still could be better. Still could be getting that out more often, but you're always gonna have that where you always could be doing better, right? So there's improvement there, just particularly sleep and mechanics.
Get in there.
Um, don't feel like you. So in this situation, right? A couple of reasons why this isn't okay. Firstly, there's 3 people left, right? Awareness, right? Again, paying attention to our environment, right? Therefore, we see that there's only 3 people, and we have close spawns, and we have 2 people walking back. So in this instance, this is pretty much already a 1 fight, right? By now, so Nano isn't really needed at all. Secondly, if they have 3 ticks left to go, right, you have no rush at all to use Nano, and you could just wait for like somebody better than Moira without ult to be getting. I guess she almost has her ult, but just there's a better target you could probably go for, like when somebody else comes out of spawn. So we've seen a lot of awareness things, right? And just that's paying attention to your environment. Do you recall, and just like I'm trying to just make sure you're understanding, refreshing your memory if you're not remembering some of these things. But how do you apply awareness? How do you get better at awareness?
Um, I I don't know, just playing the game more. I don't know.
Mm. All right. Do you remember how you get better in general? Like how do you improve generally, right?
Just usually by playing
Usually
usually.
playing. Okay, so I mean that is not a wrong answer per se, but I'd say that can be wrong answer. It depends on how you mean it. So in any case, right? Like let me explain, right? You can just play the game and go absolutely nowhere, right? Like I've
Mhm.
coached people. I remember one time I coached someone who is like gold border 4 star. Like this is like a year and a half ago or something like that. But he was like gold border 4 stars, and he is a bronze player, right? And
Mhm.
I've seen countless people like that who have, thousands of hours in the game and never rank up, right? Never go anywhere. So you can just play and never go anywhere. That's possibility. That's good, is a possibility. And how you look to actually go somewhere with your gameplay is by making sure your focus is on improvement as you're playing through, right? You're not just going to autopilot or play just for the sake of playing, right? Instead, you're going to, and also not playing to win or solely focusing on winning. Instead, you put your focus on improvement, right? Because when you focus on improvement, you end up actually winning more, right? So again, if this might sound like something you've heard before, but it's a refresher just because you obviously didn't remember it there if we had discussed it before. But let's say take awareness, right? While you're playing, you're going to want to focus on something in particular. If awareness is the number one thing, you pick out the number one thing, right? And you focus on awareness. So what that looks like is you're going to be thinking in your head, awareness, 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 right? That maybe ring a bell a little bit. Maybe not. All right. So let's continue on that then, right? So when you constantly think through what you're trying to work on, you constantly think about awareness. Well, that's all that awareness is paying attention to your surroundings, right? When you are actively paying attention and you're constantly reminding yourself, look around yourself, listen, right? Keep your eyes open, then then you're going to have better awareness, right? And if this keeps up for a long enough period of time, then that forms it as a good habit, and now you no longer need to remind yourself constantly because it just comes naturally now, right? Now, I would recommend don't go over everything all at once. We've just always, we've gone over tons of stuff between today and last time and the time before that and the time before that. We've gone over tons of things. Don't try to do everything all at once. Pick one category or one to three things within a category to focus on. Now, to go even more in depth on that, this is like new theory stuff that I've been adding in a little bit to my coaching, right? And that is you can focus on more than one categories as long as they are very unrelated. So take for example ultimate usage, right? Ultimate usage typically when you're actually putting brain power into it only happens very rarely throughout your gameplay, right? You get an ultimate maybe let's say once every 2 minutes and you're on average going to think about it for like 10 seconds, right? It's sometimes it could be longer, sometimes it could be shorter, right? Let's just say on average it's 10 seconds out of every 2 minutes, right? Which is not a lot of time, right? And that's not really going to interfere with very much else, right? You can think about how you're using your ultimate and then move on to something else, right? Whereas, for example, let's say you compare awareness to your ability usage. Well, now you're going to be using your ability usage throughout the entire game, and you're going to be using your awareness throughout the entire game. So those two would overlap a lot more than the ultimate usage would. So therefore, you can't really focus on both of those at the same time because they are both happening at the same time. That's where it would be overwhelming. So that's kind of new theory I'm adding in. You can focus on multiple things if they're very unrelated. So let's just look through some of the categories here. Let's see, are there any others? So awareness and positioning would both be throughout the whole game. So those two, again, you wouldn't really be able to do at the same time. Ability usage can't really do right with either of those. Survivability, again, can't really do. Mechanics, yeah. So honestly, ultimate usage is like it seems to be one of the only ones that like is very one of the only categories, definitely not the only thing in the game, but one of the only categories that is very once in a while, right? So therefore you aren't going to have to think about it all the time, right? So that's just an example. There are maybe some other categories in the game, other tinier things that might come up like that, to where you can focus on multiple things all at the same time, right? Like, let's say, for example, you were putting your attention into your ability usage, but then you're also trying to, I don't know, pay attention to your health bar as well. Well, that's doable because you don't have to pay attention to your health bar every single moment of the whole game, right? You can look over at your health bar when you need to look over at your health bar, right? Another thing to add in to just this all this improvement theory, right, of how do you get better is you don't put 100%, literally 100% into focus into the thing you're trying to improve on. So you're not going to literally put 100% into your awareness. That's not how it's going to work. Instead, you're going to put the majority of your focus. So you might, for example, have like 50% of your focus on awareness, and then the other 50% of your focus might go into the other 5 categories, right, that you need to work on, right? It just might be split up a little bit more, and then maybe things that you feel like you don't really need to think about very much, like let's say last time we said your ultimate usage was the best out of all of your all the categories. Maybe ultimate usage only gets like a 2 or 3% brain power dedication, right? Because
Mhm.
it's not really something you need to think about as much. So kind of that's prioritizing brain resources and where you put them. So, for example, again, going back to the awareness slash ult usage thing, right? If you're swapping between them, you would just swap the 50% around. You would, in that time you're looking to use your ultimate, you would swap your main attention and focus over to your ultimate usage, and then once you are done, you would swap it back over to your awareness, right? So this is just all theory about how you focus on things and improve on things and get better. And this is something that applies to Overwatch. This is stuff that applies to most other things that you try to improve at in just general. So probably recommend to look to do that. I'm surprised that we've never gone over that. I don't. Maybe we did at some point. We just forgot about it. I'm scrolling up through our notes and I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I'm upset with myself. Yeah. All right. So how did we never talk about this? There's no way we never talked about this.
I mean, we might have, but it might have been like a little like
My,
brief over.
yeah, my goodness, I'm not even seeing it in notes. Ah, all right. Well, yeah. Now I am mad at myself because I'm not seeing it in like the last 6 notes, and I'm like, this is stuff that I go over like day one with people. Uh, no. All right. So continuing, I suppose, but dang it, man, this wasn't in notes anywhere. All right. So I apologize for that. That is something we should
It's
have gone
okay.
over at the very beginning, but there you go. Now it's finally out. You have theory on how to improve. Yay. All right. So let's continue. Right.
This will only hurt for a minute.
I'm on fire.
Men,
Surrender to my will.
Right. Triple overheal. Good. Overheal. 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 Right. Just again. Right. It's like just the shots don't really seem to have the effort into them. Whereas if like I would probably say like let's say you put the majority of your thought into how you're using your gun, right, while you're playing, I'd probably say that same thing doesn't happen nearly as regularly. You're not gonna be perfect first try, but if you're thinking about it, you're gonna be doing a lot better because you're putting in the effort.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're not really paying attention, that I'd say that's where this kind of thing happens regularly, and it kind of builds up the bad habits, right? So we want to break down the bad habits, build up new good habits by actively paying attention, right? Sleep. I like the frequency in which we're using it. And it's just not hitting very often, right? It's just
Mhm.
not doing a lot. And then again, that's going to come by, yes, playing the game and practicing, but
Mhm.
that's not the only thing you have to do because people do that all the time and don't go anywhere, right? So we need to be thinking about how we're sleeping while also actively putting most of our attention into sleep.
this is
Mhm.
going to hurt.
Woohoo! Massive nade. Very, very nice. I think we got like 4 in that, right? Three, them, one of ours.
I have your back.
Okay, unscoping again at a distance as a reminder, right?
Mhm.
I think we have definitely talked about this. I saw that like when I scrolled up through our notes, but
Mhm.
unscope happens at a close range. Can happen within 10 meters on squishies, 15 meters on tanks, and then anything past those two lines are scoped, right? Um,
Mhm.
we're doing a lot of like we're getting those backwards in a lot of instances. Like we'll scope when something's like right next to us, and then we'll unscope when something's a mile away from us, right? Not really gonna be very efficient. You're gonna be missing even more shots just because of that, right?
I have your back.
Okay. First off, notice how we like kind of look off to the side here randomly for no reason. We also reload when we have 5 ammo and Reinhardt's critical, right?
Mhm.
Not really the time to reloading because now here we could be healing him up, and while we have 5 shots left, and we're not able to reload him, so out of position at the moment, not on left side. Randomly looked off to the side, reloading, not prioritizing the healing, and then we've seen that happen like a lot, where like we could have just been healing somebody and we weren't, and then they die, right? Again, like no problem at all with the timing. No problem with like we were shooting it down a big long corridor where there's a lot of people that it just doesn't land again, right? Which
Mhm.
comes from just us probably not thinking about as much as we could have. Um, Oof, that's fortunate. Honestly, that one wasn't too bad.
Enhanced.
Okay, pretty decent nade. Prioritizing the healing over the DPS.
I will keep you healed.
I'm on fire.
Okay, little, like putting ourselves a little far away from the fight there. We could have just been walking forwards. All right.
I think I was afraid they were gonna push point there.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking.
A touch from afar.
Okay, a couple other overheal shots. Survivability is doing pretty good at the moment. Like last time, survivability was, let's see, it was number 4. So it looked like we were having a problem with staying alive. As at least for this game, we don't seem to be having that same problem. So that's at the very minimum is also doing a lot better. So nades are doing better. Survivability is doing better. Still struggling with the mechanics, the sleeping, and the awareness and also positioning, right, being the main couple that I'm looking at. Ultimate usage, I'd like to see more of, but we've seen a little bit of a mix on that.
My will.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Okay, so now we're on better positioning again. I think that's because they went right side once again. Couple overhealing, pay attention, watch health bars, right? Awareness, right? Reminding ourselves, right? No reason why we should be healing these guys when they're all full HP. Full HP, full HP, full HP, right? Again, to remind you, overhealing is just wasted time, wasted resources. Now we have to reload for no reason. We could be using that time to maybe request healing because we're down 40 HP, right? We could be using this time to look around us, gather more intel, be aware of our surroundings. We could be using this time to reposition. We could be using this time to reload. We could be using this time to look for somebody who actually does need healing. We could be looking to use this time to use an ability to damage the enemy team, right? Just anything else besides doing nothing, right? Is essentially right. Overheal shot, right? When you know that the fight's about to be starting, don't throw the nade, right? Like here, we knew that they were all in there, and like the fight, we knew that they're coming in. The fight's gonna be starting soon. Our team's running into that room, and we throw nades. So you want to make sure that when you're spamming out your nades, that you're like waiting for, because the ones we just throw in there and spam in there aren't gonna have nearly as much value as when the fight is happening, right? It's still value. It's better than you not using it, but you also want to make sure that you're not using it right before the fight begins, because then here, like, we use it, it doesn't do anything, and then now we don't have it for when the fight actually starts, and it would have gotten more value, right?
60 seconds. وليد
不洗澡。
Think we hit something, but I don't know
60
what sleep hit there. I think that's fine, completely fine, because it ends up we hit some. I think we hit Ryan. No, he just goes past everybody. Oh, that's honestly that's not your fault. I think that's a very fine situation to be tossing into like 4 people, just ended up missing everybody.
I overshot that one there.
Yeah.
Surrender to my will.
Stay out of my way. I'm in the zone.
I've got you in my sights.
Hey,
You
good
could
need.
use to envy on
Maybe let him peek out like before you're kind of panic sleeping. Right. Again, putting more effort into it. Right. Like if he's around the corner, you're not gonna sleep him.
30
All right.
seconds.
See how we use our ultimate here.
Never. 10 seconds.
Nice sleep. Oh, watch for the Diva DM.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Right, so let's just look real quick. Who would be optimal person on our team, right? We have Torbjorn, no. Sombra, no. Moria, no. Zarya,
She's
maybe.
high energy, but I
Yeah,
don't think
high
she
energy.
is.
I think at the moment she's about to be. She's 35. She's getting a bunch right now. So she's she's decent there. Might say that like Reinhardt might be slightly better here just because she's not full charge, and on top of that, yeah, it's just to say maybe just because Reinhardt's doesn't have full charge, it maybe be the only thing. Look at the unscoped distance again.
This will help.
Anti-Incendiary.
Fire at will. Double kill. I'm on fire. I will lead us to
I will
victory.
keep you healed. Healing enough.
All right.
I'm
So
on
that
fire.
is about game. So let's exit out here. Let's see how much. When do we started at a one,
At
right?
one.
All right.
Yeah.
So then we got another, basically another at 45. Wait,
Hour and 15.
hour and 15. All right. Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's right. That sounds about good. So let's see. We get to get the next one up.
This one was, I think, Busan, I think this one was.
Ready for battle. One.
Be right back.
Enemy sighted.
Whew, very nice
This
sleep.
is going to hurt.
Don't wake him up immediately though. If you have like teammates who can help out, right? Like there's no reason to wake him up immediately. It's not like his team can wake him up or anything like that, right? So here, right, we sleep him. We see Genji's like right here. We also don't even wait till we line up our shot, right? We just go immediately. So look how I think we even miss like,
Name.
we miss our left click because we just shoot it straight up instead of at him, right? So here we don't let Genji look at him. We don't look at him. We just rush it way too fast. Don't rush it, right?
This is going to hurt.
And then because of that, we let him get out.
Back in.
Right, that could have been a very, very easy kill had we just waited like an extra half a second.
Help me.
Oh. Look, look down a little bit further. Very easily could have been a kill on us. How did it? So obviously it's a mistake that we get hooked here. What's the problem, right? Like let's look at this as if it's a death, because if he lands one extra pellet, we're dead, right? Let's look at that as if it's a death. Why did we die there?
We pushed in ahead of our hog on our
Right.
team.
So maybe a little bit over aggressive, right? Maybe one more thing I'd probably say here.
I guess we just awareness. I guess we just didn't keep track of him. Where
I'd
he
probably
was.
say the big one is cover usage, right?
Okay.
If you have cover, hog cannot hook you, right? You see hog, he sees you, you go, oh snap, that's a hog. Boom, now hog can't hook me, right? Or if he does hook me, then you can break it on the wall, right? It's honestly fairly easy once you know how to do it to just break a hook on a wall, because like all you have to do is just walk to the side while he looks like he's trying to hook you, and then you break hook, right? So here the reason why we get hooked is because we're not using cover. We're a little bit far pushed forwards, right? We're not paying attention to who's on point. We had that missing nade, request healing. Oh, nice sleep. So already hitting 2 sleeps. Sleep's looking slightly more solid. Right. Again, let's assume that's a death, because that again could have very easily resulted in a death. But he just
That one would have been awareness.
yeah.
Right, because I should have heard him.
Yep, exactly. Right, just not awareness, right? It's pretty much just the main thing there.
اتعلم من الألم.
I think we're just looking for a nade when it comes around.
Yeah.
I could use some assistance.
You're covered. ده هيكون مؤلم.
Heroes never die.
Take your medicine.
This is not the end.
Get me.
Okay, pretty solid. I like the positioning here. Maybe might say that you have some better targets to shoot at there than like Monkey Hog, right? So that gets a little bit into target priority, which like Have we ever gone over target priority because you play
Yeah,
Ana? We have, right?
yeah,
So
in general, yeah, with like the
yeah,
squishies first and stuff.
yeah, exactly right. So maybe just not Monkey and Winston there, or sorry, Winston and Hog there
Mhm.
when we have like
Back
Sombra to
inside.
shoot at, for example.
At least I'm not a rat.
Right. So here we got Nano Blade. So we're looking for that probably.
Nib.
Yeah, a little bit short. Do you think right now this is optimal positioning where we're standing?
Uh, I mean, well, if they push in, no, it wouldn't
No.
be. 'Cause if they go down main, I'm an easy dive target.
Okay. Where do you think we could be better as of the moment?
Mm, probably back where I was in the last fight,
Right
maybe.
here. Okay.
Yeah,
What happens if our
maybe not.
team? Do we have line of sight on our team here?
Uh, no.
That would just put us out of the fight, right?
hmm I guess maybe where the mega is, maybe to the
Over
right.
here. Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Um. Probably say I'd still say not optimal. Let me think how to explain why it's not optimal. First off, no high ground.
hmm
Secondly, I'd still say pretty limiting line of sight, especially if the fight goes over to point, which it's likely to do. Right, most of the time fights don't happen on the right side; they're gonna happen on the left side. Right, if points over on the left side. Um, Besides that, it just I'd say this just puts us off isolated kind of off on our own, and it just like doesn't really give us good team support. I'd probably say you want to be on the high ground here, right?
Okay.
Because from here you're able to back up, and like let's say they go to point, you can back up and just drop straight to the spot you were at before, right?
hmm
From here you have a little bit of a high ground advantage. It means that they need to use abilities to get to you. You can still you can see all of over here and all of over there, pretty much from here, right? Over there, over here, right? So tons of visibility over everything. Whereas over here, well, now we can't see like anything of on point, right? And from over here, we can't see anything of the top right, right? So probably say taking the high gun would be best for you in this situation.
I'm under attack.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
أخذني.
This is going to hurt. You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, once again, scoping in at that distance. Besides that, we go for the Nano and the Hog when we have Nano Blade, right?
hmm
Probably say Nano Blade's just a much higher powered ultimate than Nano Whole Hog is. Nano Whole Hog is no slouch, right? It's Nano Whole Hog is fairly solid, but Nano Blade just far outstrips it. Or not far. So like with a Nano Whole Hog, I would probably say that like you can maybe expect, let's say like between yeah, so with a Nano Whole Hog, I'd say maybe you can expect between 1 to 3 kills, and then maybe capping out at around 6 or 4 kills or something like that. With a
hmm
Nano Blade, you can be expecting probably a minimum of two, like 2 to 4, right? Within that, and then the possibility for 6, right? So I would say that's kind of like the difference in the power level between the two of them. There's just not really any reason to go for a hog over the Genji in this situation, right? Like Genji's just the better nano target. So, you know, we've talked about it before. Pick out your target priorities, right?
hmm
And then make sure we're paying attention to tab and who has what ultimates and who we should be looking at and whatnot.
This will only hurt for a moment.
Okay. Dropping from high ground to probably say unnecessarily here when like we can do all of that same stuff on hog from just sitting up here, right?
hmm
No reason really to drop from high ground. Then if we did drop from high ground, probably being on the back left would be better than where we are right now.
This will
Right.
only
So we
hurt for a
need
minute.
hog, then we miss a sleep. Probably say sleep's gonna be a higher priority to begin with on a hog. Just be better. Alright. Besides that, honestly, like we played it pretty well. I think we landed a lot more sleeps that fight. I don't think we mechanically misplayed as well much. So
Mhm.
positioning was a bit
Stick
off.
to the plan. And
You
if
know,
you get into trouble, I'll
maybe
bail you
I'd
out.
say we might have. Oh, I think that the difference was that like if they had gone for us, we would have been overusing our abilities, but they never really came for us, Asana, which is a little bit weird, right? But at the same
Mhm.
time, that's fine. If you identify that they're not coming for you, then there's no reason to hold on to your abilities. So that was fine to be using them that frequently. Well, sleep Lucio, right? That's easy kill if you do.
Oh, you look tired.
Pretty massive. Um,
Oh, you look tired.
um, no reason to be reloading when we see people are critical, right? Don't be reloading when there's still stuff to be doing with your ammo. Unscoping at very large distances again.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Still need you.
The objective is now active. Walk it off. Settle down, old man.
Okay, very nice.
The pain is
Okay, pretty solid. Okay, push a little bit close there for the sleep.
You're going to be okay. I'm on fire. This will only hurt for
Okay,
you.
looking very solid.
At least I'm not a rat.
Probably say that you want to just be like, instead of standing right here, just be more like right here, because then you can still pretty much be in the same spot. You can heal your team just fine. Like all you have to do to heal your team is just back up a little bit, and then you kind of have more of an off angle where you can just, let's say they push and pass choke, you can toss nades and sleeps from there. So I might say that might be slightly better than being where we are at right now.
Okay.
I have your back.
Just being a little bit further to the left. Besides that, we have our ultimate. We look as though we just used Blade, so nanoing maybe Monkey here might not be a bad idea. Oh, possibly could have gone for the nano on him there.
This is going to hurt. I will keep
With
you
nades,
healed.
again reminding that we don't
No
want to
power
hit
down.
people
Get in there.
directly. We want to look to hit the floor around
Mhm.
people. I think we've been hitting nades directly a lot of the time here.
The pain.
Alright, so just kind of, again, like, watch just, like, the spam left clicks, where, like, we go shot under the wall, right? Overheal shot. I guess we accidentally heal Mercy there, but if Mercy hadn't walked
Yeah.
into that, then that's going into nothing, right? That one's fine. Into the floor, into the wall, into the wall. I think we have a habit of like shooting before we nade every time we nade. Not necessarily a habit you need to be in, but I wouldn't say that's like a massive thing. Again, like it's realistically the fact that it all adds up that this is the problem. Any of these individually do not matter. Like if you miss a shot, that's no problem. Like everybody misses shots. That's something everybody does, but it's the fact that it like happens very, very consistently at a very high rate that we do this that it becomes the issue, because like we end up missing a lot of shots and a lot of shots don't end up doing things, and it's just kind of wasted time where we could be doing things, right? So looking to make sure we're not doing that, right? And then we go shot into the wall again,
Name. Taking
shot
damage.
into the wall. Okay, so we hit the shot now. Could be scoping in that range maybe.
Heroes never die.
Healed up. Die feedback.
Watching the people in front of us when we nade.
Die كمعلم. Bedtime.
Very nice. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Visit. Yeah.
Make sure we're paying attention to our team. We got a little bit distracted there for a moment. Right. Make sure we're with our team there. Yeah, and then because we're not, and the hog ends up dying. When, had we been paying attention, we probably could have saved him there. Alright, good nade. Alright. Yeah, probably say just the main thing was that we just weren't paying attention. Here again, look at where our whole team's at. Right, the whole
Mhm.
team's going right side, and we're coming up like top left, which is okay because we end up our team created space. I guess like, I guess that's fine. Did we see that we got a bunch of kills? Okay, I see. I
Yeah,
think we
I
saw that
got
we got a bunch
3
of
of them.
kills. All right, so I think that's fine. Honestly, just because we see that we killed everybody, and then we know that we just want to take the high ground. So honestly, retract the statement a little bit. This one's fine.
I mean, but I do get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, if the fight was happening, it'd be a bad move, but the fight wasn't happening, so you're fine. Oh, why
I
would
just
I?
I just nanoed some what you call positioning and awareness.
Yeah,
Like I should have known he had high noon and should have like been around
yeah,
just honestly just go right side
yeah. So
when I live.
cover usage, paying attention to the fact that they have it. We also nano mercy.
I just threw it on someone because I knew I was gonna die.
Right. Which we don't, not don't necessarily have to be dying here, right? If we're using cover, but
Yeah.
we just plop it on a bad target here. Genji would be definitely the best. So like last time ultimate usage was the best, but then like here it does not seem to be doing too great because we've seen like 6 in total. We've seen a lot of it happening on like bad targets. We're not holding on to it. We're not using it a ton. We used it once in one fight already. It's just not great right at the moment. Like it's still something that needs work with
Mhm.
it, right? Just because obviously we can't have that happening on mercies.
Heroes never
I
die.
think you heal.
Right. So again, like that might mean that like we just haven't really formed the habits that we need to form. So, again, we want it to get something, right? Anything to the place where it's a habit, and then once we build that habit, it's something we don't need to think about anymore, right? It's like something we just kind of do naturally. That way you don't have to put that 50% into it. So we might have gotten good at our ultimate usage for a little bit and then just kind of fallen out of the habit because it wasn't solidified all the way. So that might be like a little bit of a theory there. If last time it was doing good and this time it's not. Good nade. Nade's looking a lot more solid. Honestly, like we had a couple that we've talked about, but not like a ton. All right,
Mhm.
so that is half of the session. We got another half to go.
I mean, I
Mhm.
guess would you want to do what we did last time? Just kind of spectate a game just to see maybe in real time if there is something I'm really doing bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. I mean, mainly like where this would a large part of what this would be, right? Like if we do it live, right? Is I'll because we've already gone over like a lot of the main points. I'll
Hmm.
give you reminders as we're going, right? Reminders to pay attention to your surroundings. I'll be your reminder brain for you. Like I'll be the person who's going awareness, 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 awareness for you, right? So that
Hmm.
you can actively think about it. So I'll give you reminders to pay attention to this, pay attention to that. Make sure we're putting effort into that and whatnot. So as you're going along here, let's see. Like probably say so far, the biggest thing has been awareness.
Hmm.
Trying to think through. It's honest. I don't know if there is a biggest thing at the moment. Everything seems to be hovering around the middle, besides a couple things. Um, so I'm trying to think of like where we would put number one at. Honestly, like if you just want to pick something out, we can just make that the main focus, right? While you're playing
Probably. I guess just because of my rank, probably just positioning mainly.
positioning. Okay, so well, I'll give you reminders for positioning. Ask me
Okay.
if you're confused about something. I'll,
Mhm.
say, okay, remember to go over here. That sort of idea as we're going along here. Did you want to do comp or quick play?
I can probably comp
Probably
just
comp. All
because
right.
I think queues are 3 minutes. I can get into a game really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me stream real quick. Okay. Let me just get myself into a queue real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mm. Okay. So just mainly work on I guess positioning. Like that would have most of my brain power right now. Is what you're saying?
Yep, the majority, like 50% ish, right? Not that we're just completely ignoring everything else, but that's what we're focusing mostly on, right?
Okay.
If you'd like to, like we discussed before, maybe you can also like add in the ultimate usage if you'd like to, just because that's again very different
Mm-hmm.
times and they're not gonna overlap a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be an option as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. So Blizzard World probably best for me to, if I can, when I go right to choke, take right side high ground probably for the angle if my team has the space. But does that sound right with you?
Mm, might take so top right high ground
Never
might
stop
just
fighting
take a
for what you
little
believe
long of a rotation for you.
Okay.
So I think it like
Why
it
did you
depends.
I
Hmm,
never was an assassin.
trying to think that one
I
through.
could only
I
because
think
I
that
believed.
would be okay. It just you just have to kind of as in the moment weigh the risk versus reward of like taking a long rotation, right? Like, is my team needing me? Do they not need me?
Mm-hmm.
How fast are they pushing? Are they just slowly crawling in, or are they running in, right? That sort of idea.
Well, my priority was going to be Visor and then Rhine, but I guess it's mainly what Visor, I guess Whole Hog.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my top two, and then maybe Nano Horse, I guess.
Yep. Pretty much exactly.
Capture objective A.
move out?
Yeah. So teams going bottom left, top right's no
Mm,
longer an option now, right?
yeah, just double checking everything. Yep.
Right. Make sure when we're sleeping, we can actually see the thing we're sleeping, right?
Mhm.
Don't just blindly use it. Make sure we're not reloading when somebody's critical.
Mhm. Oh, well, I just did it there.
And what did I mean? Die either.
Well, okay. Um, okay, well, they're down their DPS.
It'll take more than that to keep me out of the fight. Die,
Oh,
golem.
massive.
Just a scratch, you'll be fine.
If you're pushing up, yeah.
This will only hurt for a bit.
Massive nade. Right now, we just want to be like up where Orisa is, yeah. And right now, we're deliberating. Are we using our ult here or not? Really?
We should be fine without it.
Yep. And so we're just pressing time between
So,
fights.
yeah, I'm trying to. I'll check here. So I think they've only used wall. I think it's their only thing they've used.
Fight.
I think they'll probably have grab drag in this fight, which means we'll probably use trance for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say we also use visor also.
Yeah. So
So
we're thinking, who are we using it on in this next fight, right?
you're just well, they're all going to be skill shots unless I nano hog when he hooks someone. That's about it.
Mm. Yep. So in the situation, honestly, like I'd probably just be using it very situationally. Like only if you feel like you need it to win, because you also have like 3 other ultimates, right? So
Mhm.
if we feel like we need it to win, and you see a good opportunity to use it, like so you're. But I mean, you could also just win off of that, right?
Mhm.
Your teammates doing a ton.
Team the special attack.
You're covered.
Enemy contact.
Yeah, nice.
Get stabilized.
Get back in.
Watch your health bar, right? Request some healing. Jump in soldiers. Heal pad.
We're getting close to visor here.
Mm-hmm.
Tactical goggles activated.
Get in there.
Massive nade. Alright. When you're about to cap, where are they gonna go?
Point.
Right, so where were we standing that fight?
Yeah, we were at point. I
Yeah.
should have just stayed right there.
Yeah.
That would have been fine.
Or just right behind cart, pretty much, right? Like, honestly, like, if you just anything besides on top of or in front of cart would have been fine.
My ultimate is
Okay.
charging.
So I'm looking at it. They probably have Shattered. They're on Orisa. I just swapped to Reaper.
For your safety, please move behind the barrier.
Oh, pretty big.
Keeping an eye on my hog over there.
Massive nade. Oh, why would I?
Awareness. I didn't hear the Hanzo until too late.
Okay. Besides that. You know,
I
that's
pushed
one
out
part.
too far.
Yeah,
Aggressive.
push up ahead of our team, over aggressive, not using cover, not paying attention to our surroundings, right?
ده هيكون مؤلم.
s- My Reaper TP to our left, I think.
Taking damage.
Tactical goggles activated.
Can't get aggressive with your ability. Oh, massive. A little bit out in the open right now. Look to go near
Here
cover.
comes Blossom, I think. Oh,
My shots find them. This is going to hurt.
Okay, good ability usage. Right. I was just gonna say at the very start of that fight, like when you're trancing, could be looking for like some aggressive nades, but
mhm.
besides that, well played.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Here comes Blossom.
Alright, we knew Blossom was coming. What could we have
Mhm.
done to stop Blossom?
Held on to sleep.
No, we could have
Or-
slept him. Could have naded him.
Yeah.
Could have nanoed someone. Right? A lot of different options. If of course I don't expect you to now, but like you could also communicate it to your team when you are in a game, right? So we had like 4 different options there to stop Blossom, and then Blossom wins them the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Want to be closer to the fight, right? Like now push forwards when your team's pushing forwards, right?
Take your medicine.
Close to the visor.
Get back in there.
Tactical goggles
No
activated.
power down. Get in there.
Okay.
I'm on fire.
Alright.
Look what they missed. I see. You're going to.
Request healing if you feel pressured there.
Mhm.
Alright. Pretty good round. Probably say like a third of the time we throw our sleeps, it's like predict sleeps. Like we're trying to, for example, like someone's coming around the corner, we try to get them from around the corner. So or more accurately, maybe I'd say like blind sleeps, where like a lot of our sleeps end up we just toss them in there when like we can't actually see the person, right?
Mhm.
Maybe not something we want to do, right? When we could, like that's gonna be very rare when that's applicable because you need to like kind of perfectly anticipate when they're gonna come around the corner, which is something you can do. That's
Hmm.
definitely a more advanced thing. I would say it's not gonna happen that as often as as you're using it for that, and on top of that, we end up missing most of them, right? We don't actually end up sleeping them, right? We just end up
Hmm.
mispredicting. So make sure when we're throwing our sleeps that we can actually see the people we're trying to sleep, unless you're fairly certain that they're coming around that corner, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
So I'm looking at it still. So Nano Priority is still going to be Visor. And then I guess depending on who Echo copies, and then probably Hog still third.
Mm-hmm.
Would right here be good cover, like a good starting position for
Um,
Rana,
not
or
necessarily
would
to
kind of
start off.
around the boxes here?
I'd probably say starting off like top, yeah, bottom right is fine, and then you rotate like to the top left if you, whenever you get the opportunity to like get behind you.
Okay.
But top right, I would say is not as good. It used to be good like during Goats meta, and I'd say it's good like if you're running like any hard brawl meta because they're not really gonna be able to reach you up there. But and you can get like a sneaky nade off, but because like there's a lot of other comps, I wouldn't say it's like worth it nowadays.
Okay.
Because here you could just have like far drop on your head and right, you can't really do anything.
Go. I keep you here.
Say all tracking their far is probably close to old, I imagine.
Get back in the fight.
I am beaconed.
You're going to live.
It's probably low there because your Zenyatta shot a lot of shots into him. I'd imagine. Might have been an instance where you could have pushed him. Okay, a little on the open, look to go towards cover. Don't reload when there's people to shoot at. Right, so a little far on the open. Right now, rotate high, top, like the back high ground behind
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
play up there.
yeah. Think that'd be fine to do.
Let's say they're on
Yeah,
Sombra now. Off Farah.
because from here we can pretty much do all the same stuff as down there, right? For the most part.
Nano boost is ready to deploy.
And now, if your team plays like really close, like Hog is, you might want to push forwards, right? Because like, look how where our team is engaging, right? So you just want to pay attention to them. Okay. Thinking, do we like we want to use ult there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. Move. All right. Overall, pretty well played. Maybe could have played like, I don't know, so like slightly sneakier. When we're going up against like the Zarya's, he doesn't like kind of look at us, but like, honestly, not a ton we could have changed there.
Um,
Alright,
I'm
so
gonna
right
look to
now,
probably hold up here.
mm,
Probably just.
I'd probably say like
Um,
if your team is engaging them a little bit closer, like being on top of the big statue here or whatever, the gun would be a really good place to be if you're landing abilities and whatnot. So like right here, look where your team's playing. You probably want to be up where your Echo is, right? Like on top of the big.
Okay.
Are you know how to get up there?
I think I do.
Oh,
Tactical goggles activated.
oh, like right now, notice that we don't have line of sight on any of our team. Jump up the leg there, and that's how you get up there.
Oh. I don't know how that didn't anti them.
Briggs stole it with her shield. Yeah, so they're a little bit out of position. Positioning was the big thing. Right, like just being on top of that lets you see so much more visibility. Top of that, we just didn't have awareness of the Sombra, and then she got Zenyatta.
Get back in the fight.
Alright, coming back in this next fight, probably like top left would be a good place for you to be rotating.
Nano boost is charging.
Next time.
Move up at my position.
Come on.
Mm.
Okay, we at least got trans off that.
Probably drop a heal nade. Right, watch your health bar, 15 HP. Alright, besides that, pretty well played fight. Okay, thinking about how we're using our ultimate this next fight.
Probably gonna probably nano hog.
Yep, rotate,
Yeah.
retake top left. Right, in between fights, just make sure rotating.
Try and keep an eye out on Sombra.
Yeah, really good nade. Alright, so we have to think, like, is it going to be worth it to Nano Orisa to stall out cart? Do you think our team's going to be able to get back in time?
Oh, you look tired. You're powered up. Get in there.
Alright, did someone, remind me there, did somebody come and contest this top left? Did Diva run at us?
Ryan
Ryan,
did.
oh, Reiner, okay.
I'm not ready to hang it up.
Yeah. But maybe, like, I don't know. I think it's fine.
This will only hurt for a minute.
Alright. Honestly, pretty solid, right? Definitely things that could be worked on, right? Like, press tab real quick, right? Like, I think we had, like, only 6 sleeps, which, again, I think is, like, maybe slightly better than we had in, like, the last 2 games we watched, but still, work could be done on that, getting more out there, just because, 6 in a, how long was that game? Like, 10 minutes or something?
Let's tell you on here.
A lo-
No,
17 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, so 6 sleeps in 17 minutes is a not fantastic rate to have. I don't think it's 17 minutes because I think that includes the out of fight time. So let's say 15 minutes, right? That means that we're getting in. Let's just say like
One every
roughly,
3.
yeah, 1 every 3 minutes, right? Not a great rate to have.
Mm-hmm.
So looking to get a lot more sleeps out there doing things, right? Besides that, just still working on the awareness, still working on the positioning, still working on the mechanics and stuff like that. Nades looking honestly pretty fine, right? There's, of course, it's not perfect, of course, but it's still looking really solid. Ultimate usage looking like it was a lot better there in that round than it was previously in the replays, right? Since we were paying attention to it, so good job there. We have 40 minutes left, so you want to like do another one?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm back up to 2100 now.
Nice. So, no, any question about anything, or is this all, just same old type of deal?
I mean, I think some of it's just me watching back the VOD after and just making sure. Sorry about that.
All good.
I think I asked you before, Do you know if there's like any good what you call it, like custom game codes for like Anna to help her out
Yeah.
with like any of her stuff?
Yeah, I think I explained that last time that we did a session, but like there you can do like um air nade spots, but like that honestly I would say isn't very applicable and or like useful information to be thinking about or spending your time on until you get to higher ranks. Maybe like Masters Plus, but because you're just more pressing things to master before that. Besides that, no, not really, because typically they're not going to be very realistic to your gameplay. There's not going to be as many things around you, right? Instead, I'd maybe recommend like if you're working on sleeps, maybe a good place to work on sleeps might be like on a paintball or something of that sort, right? Like where you can
Mm-hmm.
um look to
Track people's movement and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Like you can learn. It's like just a fast-paced, fun environment where you can look to learn how to land sleeps. You could also do it in like try your deathmatch, try your free
Mhm.
for all. Right, is another option. You just wouldn't be getting it back as often. It'd be on that long cooldown.
Let's say I remember on this map on defense where usually the best spots are to position.
Hmm.
Say looking at Nano Priority, it's looking like well Hanzo just swapped. Uh, Probably Sig more than likely, if unless like Symmetra's like in the front lines with like a full charged beam.
Hmm.
Uh, so far, our tank hasn't picked yet.
Hmm.
Aslan,
Imagine the worst
Need
possible.
someone to tuck you in?
Now,
Yep. So I mean, like honestly, sometimes if you don't have a great team comp, you could just go, okay, well, I'm going to just be basically nanoing anything that needs it, right? Like just be very situational about it, right? Who is in the most danger? Who'd get the most value out of shooting at stuff, right? That sort of
Mhm.
idea. Like right now here, probably like it'd just be tanks and sim, and it's just like whoever's
Yeah.
in the best position to do something, right? Who needs the healing the most? Who needs the damage reduction the most? Who's in the fray fighting the most, right? Good positioning start off yet?
Mhm.
just a scratch. You'll be fine. Heal up. Watching your back.
Yeah, looking to use abilities. Alright, held onto abilities a little bit long there. Also, at the moment we're probably looking to get out here.
Well,
Right.
that's I'm
So
dead here.
don't be afraid to use your nades for healing, right? If you're keeping
Hmm.
your teammates alive, right? Also just to use abilities to put pressure on them and keep them off of our team, and possibly swing the fight around and whatnot. But we just kind of held on to them for a little while.
Objective lost. New defense is coming. Objective B.
We just use lamp there. They probably have flux, I imagine. I don't think they have grab yet.
Heal your critical teammate, right?
Watching your back.
Reality bends to my will.
Clarity.
Nap time.
Nice shots.
This is going to hurt.
Um. Okay, looking at it, that they used flux and I don't think they used anything else on their team.
Okay, whole team's push forwards. Might want to push forwards, help them
Yeah.
out. Okay, maybe be on like top. Might be a good idea here, like top left. Yeah. I need to go for Nano Boost, right?
My ultimate is ready. Nano boost is ready to deploy. You're going to be okay.
I was trying to nano him before he went in.
So holding on the Nano just in the fight, like leading up to that, right? When everyone
Yeah.
got grabbed, right? Holding on to it, and then even after that on the McCree there, maybe like just popping it on him slightly faster, and then even when he was running around the corner, like just making sure we're aiming at him, make sure we're not forgetting to do it.
Prepare to attack.
Oh, okay. Well, they just
That's
took
unfortunate.
Fauna. I guess I'll just play around their team comp, whatever they pick. I mean, I guess I didn't really nano just because I'm pretty sure like everyone was antied.
Mm,
So I mean,
yeah,
I never
so
would have gotten damage reduction, but I
yeah,
know
so
they
like
wouldn't have healed him.
possibly before everyone's getting antied is an option there, right? Is
Mhm.
one thing. Secondly, I think we also didn't have like line of sight on like our Orisa was another problem as well.
Mhm.
And then we also missed it on the McCree. So we had a couple options, situations where we could have used it that we didn't.
I guess depending on what Super Mage does, I'll go probably either Bap or Brig.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Um, listen, Orisa. Do you think it'd be better probably for Bap with the window
Yeah,
with
I
my
mean
tank?
Brig is not a particularly good character into a spam composition.
Okay.
So yeah, Bap would be better.
dying on my watch. Kisho, you want a bandage for that? Hello.
Um,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
I'm hearing they have a junk.
Really good immortality. Alright, pretty good fight.
Everything is falling into place. Amplification.
Alright, because I'm the only one with ultimate. I just need to kind of play with my tanks or my Junkrat and let them kind of get full value. They probably have Nano Visor. They for sure have Nano.
Possibly could use it to just break through the choke point here, right? Like if you feel like we're stuck. Right, just clears up a lot of space.
I'm just saving Immortality Field for Grav or Blossom.
Reloading. Probably could look to shift up to a high ground whenever we get the chance, or jump up to a high ground and control up.
Alright, well.
Alright, a little bit on point, back up a little bit. Alright. Yeah, so we're gonna take a high ground. Maybe one of the back high grounds might be a good idea. Maybe
Okay.
take it a little bit early in the fight. Besides that, really well played. Right, good time.
Score 2-2. Switching sides.
I'd say Bap's usually someone I usually don't play a whole lot. I just kind of know he's just a big spam healer.
Yeah.
Select your hero.
Those are some longer fights because I think we capped it But first fight both times, yeah, we only had 2 minutes and 20 seconds left over.
So yeah, they stalled it there for like what, like
Mhm.
an extra 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in.
And so I guess Nano Priority, I guess probably Stigma would probably be first, or I guess maybe Situation.
Incoming in 10
Yeah,
Alright.
so say honestly it'd just be like Sigma or Orisa, like either or would be like number 1 situationally, and then Junkrat or Hanzo would be number 2 situationally.
Sig, Ana, they're just gonna run the same thing they did on attack.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
You're going to be okay.
Alright, so just watch health bars here, make sure you're using abilities. Scoping at that range.
The drop here.
Yep. Alright, so it's mainly they're just like keeping people alive, right? Is the main thing is that people just keep getting picked off, and that is making sure looking at the right people at the right times, make sure that we are, shooting people who need healing, make sure we're not like reloading when we have ammo still, and making sure we're using heal nade effectively, right? And just not missing our shots as well, right? It's important to keep people alive and up in the fight, just because people just keep getting picked off flat out. Don't be afraid to like scope in at like some of these more medium ranges. Okay, thinking about using ult here for like we're thinking who are we using ult on and when.
If Monkey dives on any of them, I will. Just try and keep Monkey away. I
Alright.
didn't even realize Sigma was up here.
Focusing a little bit on the damage there. So like for example, like we're throwing the anti-nade on a single enemy when we're like our whole team's grabbed, right? Might be a good idea to prioritize heals. Probably say it'd be a good idea to come out on a faster character to look to touch, right? Like Lucio or Moira would be better than coming on an Ana, right? Better for the contest.
Score.
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4. Switching sides.
Do this. Let me just do that.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Probably do. I guess probably Bap again if we're just gonna run Sigarista.
Yeah.
No dying on my watch.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I'd say it's not my problem. Behind you! Ah! Behind you! Ah! Just keep
Ooh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Sarapet.
Yeah, don't be afraid to throw the immortality there when Sigma was dying, right? Again, don't be afraid to throw immortality when you think people are gonna die.
Mhm.
Right? It's just not an ability you want to hold on to. No, be aware of your surroundings. Possibly people who need healing. Right? It's like Monkey is critical behind you there, and then I think Ana healed him. And good immortality. Little split from our team right now. We're trying to get as close to them as possible. Okay, Baptiste is a character that benefits from being on top of his team, right?
Mhm.
Well, you just want to make sure that's not being on top of your team doesn't mean out in the open, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right, but near them, as close to them as possible, right? Because you cannot shift from, there's a 10-meter radius. You cannot shift from too far away, right? Immortality and just your general shooting are gonna be slower to reach them, are going to be less accurate because they're projectiles. On top of that, you're not gonna be able to give people your window if you're far away from them, right? So most of your kit revolves around you being close to your team. Make sure we're not playing too far away from them. Try to stick on top of them.
You're fully healed.
Oh.
That's better.
Not a lot we can do there. Right, we lost the fight before that. So, in any case, immortality. Make sure we're using cover with it. They were putting it around solid objects the same way you would with your own body. When we place it out in the open, it's just gonna get destroyed very, very easily. Whereas if we hide it around the corner, it's gonna stay up very, very long. We also ended up kind of panicking a little bit with it, and Genji ended
Mhm.
up being asleep, right? So keep in mind, Genji is not going to, like, the second you hear it, you're not all of a sudden maybe dead the next
Mhm.
moment, right? So just give it half a second to a second to assess the situation, right? Don't panic with it. Use cover on with it, and then it stays alive longer. Yeah, so besides that, let's see, we have 18 more minutes, so I think we can probably. We're not gonna have time for another comp game. Why don't we just go to
Mhm.
the training range and wrap it
Okay.
up, and then if we have extra time left over, then we can look to maybe do a quick play, right, with the rest of
Okay.
that time, or go over replay, either or. But yeah, I'm streaming. We'll wrap it up
Yeah.
here.
Never
So,
stop
let's start
fighting
with
for what
ability
you
usage.
believe in.
Nades looking a
Mhm.
lot more solid,
This will
right?
only work for a
Just, of course, not perfect. Still have to do all the things we talked about it. We've gone over on a, like, I don't know how many times now, like 6 times now. So, you
Mhm.
you know all the different things with Nade, right? Make sure, just keep them up, right? Get more consistent, but looking a lot more solid with it. Sleep still need a lot work still. Make sure putting conscious effort into it. Pre-aim, people are gonna go. Make sure that we're not pre-firing around the corner like we would constantly do this, where like we would, see bot around the corner, and we would use it when we think bot's coming around the corner, and it'd just be off, right?
Mhm.
Like we'd do constant blind fires, right? Don't necessarily have to make every sleep a blind fire, right? Just wait till they're around the corner and then do it, right? Like here, if we know bot's top right, we're not gonna like try to blind fire when we could just wait for him to come around and then fire sleep, right?
Mhm.
That sort of idea. Um, Then over on Baptiste, make sure we're within range of our shift. Besides that, not too big of a problem with it from what I saw. And then Immortality, make sure we're just looking to put some effort into it. Make sure we're putting it around the corners and making sure that we are, let's see, putting around the corners, don't hold on to it. Make sure we're looking to use it like just when people are low and in danger, right, when they're about to die. The same way it's basically the same situation that we would use our heal nade for, right, if somebody's in danger and low, right, is when we're using Immortality. And then I think we already said cover, right, but those are the main things with your ability usage, right. So overall, probably say that it, trying to think, probably say that both of them go to. I'm torn between low to medium and medium. Somewhere within that, both of them go to like low to medium, somewhere around that area, right? Then you have ultimate usage. BAP window honestly looked very solid. Not real any big problems with it. I think you used it quite fine. Ana, we looked fine with it after we started doing live games, though in the replays they didn't look too hot. Making sure that we're not using them in won or lost fights, making sure we're thinking about our target priority list and we're not just nanoing whoever whenever, right? Not putting on not putting it on your Mercy or your Moira, right? Which we did a couple times, right? So overall, could like if it was in consistently bad, so that one was probably like a low to medium priority, right? On Ana and the Baptiste was a low priority. Didn't really see anything that needed worked on for that, right? Mechanics. Make sure we're not over healing. Make sure that we're not reloading when we could be shooting at somebody. Prioritize healing over damaging if you have the option. Make sure you're actively paying attention and shooting at the people who actually need healing. Right? There'd be sometimes like where somebody'd be needing healing and we're doing something else, right? Making sure we're putting active effort into our shots and we're not just going, oh, whoop de doo, you know, like la di da da da, right? And just randomly shooting around here and like not really thinking about how we're just holding it down, not really thinking about how we're using our shots. We had a habit of like every time we threw an ability, we would shoot beforehand. Like we would do this like every time, and that's just not always necessary. It can be certain situations, just not always necessary. Just make sure we're not wasting all of our shots. Right, it's a big thing. A little bit of target priority. Shoot at things that need to be shot at. Don't shoot at things that don't need to be shot at. And then overall, that probably goes to like medium priority. Baptiste. With our shots, I didn't really see us left clicking a lot, but also people were like low a lot of the time, which isn't always going to be the case. I'd say maybe left click like a little bit more than we were. Just literally any time that you're not healing, you're shooting, right? It is how it works, right? So pay attention to when you don't need to be healing for when you do need to be shooting. Besides that, any other problems with like mechanics. Some Baptiste is just, you know, again, no overhealing. Overall, just like medium priorities on both, right? Moving on, positioning, right? Making sure that we are using cover, making sure we are taking high grounds, making sure that we are rotating in between fights, the best positioning possible, which usually is high grounds, right? Making sure that we are positioning at our right ranges. So Baptiste, making sure we're like positioning as close to our team as possible so we get all the benefits we just discussed. Besides that, don't stand on top of cart when you're about to cap point, right? Make sure give it a little bit of a berth, like give it some space, right? Let's see, is there anything else with positioning? I think those are the main points. Overall, that probably goes to like a medium high, somewhere around that. Awareness, paying attention to your health bar, request healing when you're low. Pay attention to where's your team at, where's the enemy team at, right? What's happening in kill feed, who's winning the fight. Pay attention to your audio awareness and make sure you're listening for the baby diva to, you know, so she's not sneaking up behind us and smushing us, right? Make sure that we are paying attention to team compositions, who's our nano priorities, right? That sort of idea. Let's see, I think there's pay attention to health bars, right? That way we're not over healing, right? Just paying attention to like when do people need healing, when do they not need healing, when do I need to be using like danger levels of teammates, when do I need to be using my immortality, right? When are people critical and in need of healing so that we know when to be healing, right? When sometimes we would sometimes we'd overheal and other times we would just not heal when it was needed, right? So we're a little backwards on that.
I call that
Um, and then overall, that one probably goes to like a medium high as well. Survivability, honestly, not a big like something we needed to really worry about. We did a lot better on survivability. We didn't die like all the time, but still just pay attention to the reasons why you are dying, because the deaths that you do have are still mistakes, right? Like if, for example, like if you want to rank up, just dying as little as possible is going to be like one of the is going to be a way to improve, right? It's just knowing how to stay alive, right? Like if you had a Masters player come in playing gold, they're going to be dying very little. They're like barely going to they're barely gonna be dying because they know how to stay alive, right? Whereas a Masters player in Masters might end up dying a little bit more often, right? But knowing how not to die, right, is going to be part of ranking up as well, right? So overall, that was probably on the lower end of the spectrum, probably like a low to medium priority, something like that, right? So let's put that all in order real quick. Number one probably comes as your I'm trying to think, where do I want to put that? Why don't we put that at a, trying to think between awareness and positioning, which one goes higher. I don't know. From what you heard, what do you think goes higher?
Definitely. I think awareness was well.
Mm,
Yeah, that I could probably work on. Yeah, probably awareness one, positioning two,
yeah, that's what
and
I was
then
thinking, but like they're just a little bit close, right? So, honestly, you wouldn't be like too terrible. It wouldn't be too terrible if you like did that one or the other, but like awareness, yeah, just put that as number one. Positioning is a very close second, right? Three would probably be mechanics. Four would be your let's see, where we put,
probably all.
yeah, trying to think. No, I think ability usage came above ultimate usage. Right, we had a ult usage at low to medium, and ability at like in between that. All right, so probably say ability usage comes next, then ultimate usage, and then survivability is last, I think. Yeah. So that's your list to work on. We got 10 more minutes. You got any questions about anything we've gone over? Just anything else in general? Anything you think of?
Um, there's nothing I can really think of.
All right. So let me think. Is there anything else that we can just talk about concept-wise? So we've discussed all the. Also, just a reminder about like all the self-improvement stuff, right? And like no thinking about improvement, making that your mindset. Thinking about making like focusing on things, right? Pick out the one category would mainly be your your awareness, right? So think about your awareness, and then maybe once in a while you can mix it up. Think about your ultimate usage whenever using your ultimate usage, right? Like just prioritize it, make it the main thing you're thinking about, like put most of your attention into it, most of your focus, make it a habit, then move on to the next thing, right? Besides that, I guess just general getting better at things, right? Like identify your own problems while you're playing, right? Like don't make it so it's not just like me is the only one who's making you get better, right? I want you to learn how to get yourself better as well, right? That's the goal, so that you can learn how to do it on your own. That'll not only be helpful in Overwatch, but will be helpful in other things as well in life and other games and whatnot, right? So identify your step number one to solving problems and fixing things and getting better. Identify your problem, right? Like what's wrong? What are you doing wrong? What do you like? It really just, why am I dying? Why did my teammate die? Why did I miss the shot? Why did I mess up the ability, right? Like think, what is the problem there? And then step two is looking for the solution. What was the solution to that problem? If I was out of position, right? Or if I died, why did I die? If I was out of, maybe let's say we died because we were out of position. What positioning could I have taken instead, right? Think about that, right? Think about the solution to the problem. Then finally think about how you can look to apply it, which we've already discussed the application, and actively look to apply it, right? So that is your 3-step process to improvement, right? And make sure we're looking to just go about doing that within our own gameplay, right? Like it doesn't have to necessarily be a VOD review. You can just like, while you're playing, think about, what did I do wrong, right? That's what I did with my own gameplay. Was I like would just play, and I thought while I was in the middle of playing, I died there. Why did I die, right? Like what was the problem with me dying, right? And how could I look to fix it? And then I would look to apply that like just while I'm playing, right? So that'd be recommendation. Besides that, we have like 7 minutes left. Would you like to like hop into a quick play or do a
Think you're going
replay?
to make it.
I can pull up a game really quick. Let's see which one.
I think we got off on the wrong foot.
Okay, here's one. Let's see, we did that one, Could do Hanamura. Where's your name at on here? There it is. I get.
Alright, got it up.
Traveling to Hanamura. Ready for battle. One. Attackers incoming.
Okay. I think we're starting off fine positioning here. No real problems.
I could use some assistance. Let's see it get past this.
Yeah, it also seems like sometimes the main problems we have seem to like rotate from game to game. Like in one game, the main problem we have will be like, or one of the main things will be your mechanics, right? And then the next game, your mechanics are fine, and then your ultimate usage will be bad, right? And then the next game you're in, your positioning will be bad, and your awareness will be good. And then the next game, your awareness is bad, and your positioning is good. So it seems to like flip flop around a lot. Where like so far, like just like look at this first like 15 seconds. I'd probably say like your mechanics are fine here. Like you honestly, you're not wildly missing shots. You're not like holding it down and shooting at nothing. Like the shots that you do miss look like they're shots that should be missing, right? Like not that you want to miss shots, but like you're just barely missing, right? Like you're like the shots that you're missing make sense that you're missing. Not we're not just randomly shooting into a wall somewhere, right? So like you can look through this, right? Healing because people need healing, damaging, right? Completely fine. We hit a bunch of shots. That last one, completely fine because it's not like we're trying to track a ball. We were relatively on target, right? We stop shooting when ball goes away. We get back to shooting. Maybe like a tiny little overheal shot there, but we immediately get back to shooting. Maybe could go for like a reload here, but like we again are shooting when people need healing. We're aiming straight at Reaper there, so good shots. Right, so possibly could have been like reloading sooner. Right, again we're like aiming in the general direction people. It's all good. Right, so like right now, like couple tiny little efficiency things, but like for the most part, it's not nearly as big of a thing as like we have been looking at. A couple there that could have been better. Alright, but like mechanics as of the moment like look decently fine, right? Like we're hitting our shots, we're aiming in the right spots, we're not like holding it down,
Walk it off.
right? Make sure we're looking at our teammates who are critical here, right? Look at like we're still shooting at not Reinhardt when Reinhardt's critical, right?
Walk it off.
Sorry, excuse me, I had to sneeze there.
Are you good?
You're covered.
Alright, so what that shows me, right? Like, and then again, the other example of that would be first two replays, terrible ult usage, and then when we're doing the live games, great ult usage, right? Or like fairly decent ult usage, right? In the comparison, that just shows me inconsistency across all of them, and it means that we don't really have solid habits built into any of them. So pick something, focus on it, build up that good habit, then move on to something else, right? Don't just swap from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. Make sure building those good habits, getting them good, because like if we're just thinking, if we're going through our game, right, gameplay, and we're in this game, right, if in this game our ultimate usage sucks, and in the next game we think, I should work on my ult usage, right, and then we go into the next game and our ult usage is good that game because we're thinking about it, and then now our positioning sucks. Well, now in the next game after that, we're thinking, I should work on my positioning because now my positioning sucks, right? Then we go and work on the positioning, and then now because we're thinking about our positioning, the positioning's good, but now the awareness sucks, right? So we're instead of doing that, don't do that. Focus on one thing, right? The whole way through. Focus on the awareness, right? Make the awareness the main priority. Put other things on the back burner. Then come to the it's gonna be a little bit hard, right? But come back to it when you need to come back to it. All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording there.